My name is Maya Reeves. I was 31 years old when my father threw my 8-year-old daughter into a thunderstorm. 3 hours. That is how long Chloe sat in a drainage ditch behind a neighbor's fence before someone found her. 3 hours of rain hitting her face, of lightning splitting the sky above her, of thunder so loud it shook the ground under her small body. She was 8 years old. She weighed 49 pounds. And my father opened that door and pushed her out, like she was something that had gotten inside by mistake. He did it because of a lie told by her 9-year-old cousin, a lie my parents accepted without asking a single question, because asking questions would have meant admitting what they had been doing. For 11 months, while I was overseas, what happened in that hospital room 2 hours later changed everything. But what none of them knew was that I had already been home for 12 minutes when my father opened that door. I was sitting in a rental car, 4 houses down, and I had a folder on the passenger seat that was going to dismantle everything they thought they had built. I grew up in a 3-bedroom house on the east side of Memphis, Tennessee. My father, Frank, worked as a foreman at a distribution warehouse for 27 years. My mother, Donna, ran the church bake sale every 3rd Sunday and kept the house so clean you could eat off the baseboards. My older sister, Karen, married at 23, had Noah at 24, and moved into a house 8 minutes from my parents the following year. My father stood at her wedding reception with his hands in his pockets and smiled the way men smile when they believe things have gone according to plan. I was not part of the plan. I joined the Memphis Police Department at 22, not because I wanted authority, because I had watched my neighborhood for 22 years, and I understood the difference between the people who had options and the people who did not. I wanted to be the kind of officer who gave people options. I made detective by 26. Homicide. My clearance rate was the 2nd highest in my unit. By the time I was 28, I documented everything. Every case note, every witness statement, every inconsistency, every date and time and exact word. My sergeant called it obsessive. I called it the only way to tell the truth in a courtroom. My father called it stubborn. He had a different word for most of the things I did. When I told him I was joining the force, he said real women take care of their homes. When I made detective, he said you think you are better than everyone. When I told him I was pregnant at 27, and the father was not in the picture, he said nothing, just looked at the wall for 30 seconds, and then walked out of the room. I raised Chloe alone, 2-bedroom apartment near Midtown. I worked shifts and called in favors, and kept a notebook of babysitters and backup plans, the way other people kept grocery lists. Chloe was the most important case I would ever work. I did not use that word with her. I used it with myself. Every decision I made about her life, I treated with the same rigor I brought to a crime scene. What do I know? What can I prove? What comes next? When I got the assignment overseas, I had 48 hours to finalize my care plan. Memphis PD had a partnership with a federal peacekeeping initiative, selected officers, 12-month rotation, community policing consultation in a post-conflict region. It was the kind of assignment that did not come twice. My parents volunteered before I finished explaining what it was. She is our granddaughter, my mother said. Of course she comes here. We raised 2 girls. We know how to do this. I remember the feeling of relief that moved through me when she said it. Chloe would be in a house with a yard, a school district I had already researched, 2 grandparents with 30 years of parenting experience between them. The alternative was my partner's wife, a woman Chloe had met 4 times. The choice seemed clear. I signed the legal guardianship paperwork, designating Frank and Donna Reeves as Chloe's temporary caregivers. I set up an automatic transfer of $1,100 a month into their joint account, groceries, school supplies, medical copays. My father never mentioned the money. Not once. I found out later. He never told Karen about it either. Karen's son, Noah, had been practically living at my parents' house since he was 5 years old. He had a bedroom there, with a bunk bed and a shelf of video games, and a nightlight shaped like a basketball. He had a drawer of clothes in the dresser. He had his own hook on the coat rack by the back door, with his name written in marker on a piece of masking tape. When Chloe arrived with her suitcase, my mother put her in the spare room, the one with the folding cot, and the window that faced the fence. No curtains, no desk. The folding cot had a bar in the middle that you could feel through the mattress if you slept on your side. I did not know that when I left. Chloe did not tell me when I called my mother the first week and asked if Chloe was settled. She said she is doing just fine, honey. That was the first lie. It was not the last. The night before I flew out, I sat on the edge of Chloe's bed in our apartment and took a small card from my jacket pocket. Official police department identification. Dependent of Officer Maya Reeves. Her photo. My badge number. Emergency contact. Direct line to my unit. I clipped it to the inside pocket of her backpack. She watched me do it. What is that for? That is so that anyone who finds you knows who you belong to. No matter where I am, no matter how far away, you show someone that card, and they will call your mom. She touched the edge of it with one finger. Even if you are far away, especially then. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said the thing I did not hear correctly until much later. What if Grandpa gets loud again? I stopped what I was doing. What do you mean again? She picked at the hem of her pajamas. He just gets loud sometimes, when he thinks I did something. When does he think you did something? She shrugged. The kind of shrug that 8-year-olds give? When they want to tell you something, but do not have the words for how serious it is. I told myself it was adjusting. I told myself Frank was strict but not dangerous. I told myself I would watch more carefully. Once I was settled overseas, I told myself I had made the right choice. I was wrong about one of those things. And by the time I understood which one, my daughter was huddled behind a neighbor's fence, in a drainage ditch 4 blocks from my parents' house. In the middle of a Tennessee thunderstorm, I kissed her forehead. I will call you every week. I promise. Promise. I kept that promise. My parents did not keep theirs. The posting was 14 hours ahead of Memphis. My days ran 12 to 14 hours. Community consultations, police liaison meetings, documentation reviews. I scheduled my video calls for 7 in the morning local time, which was 5 in the evening back home, Chloe's after-school hour. Except the calls never happened in a quiet room. My mother was always in the frame, hovering behind Chloe, adjusting the camera, filling the silence. How is school, baby? Fine. What did you do today? Nothing. Are you and Noah getting along? She looked down. Yeah. She used to talk for 20 minutes straight. About the girl in her class who could do a backflip at recess. About the stray cat that kept appearing outside the school fence. About the chapter book she was reading. About a girl detective who solved neighborhood crimes. Now she gave me single words and looked past the camera, like she was checking whether someone was standing in the doorway. I tried asking my mother directly, is something going on with Chloe? She seems quiet. My mother waved her hand, the way she always waved her hand when she wanted a conversation to end. She is adjusting. All children do this. She just needs time. Can I talk to her alone next time? Without you in the room? Better connection in the kitchen, Maya. You know how the signal is. I did not push. I should have. 3 weeks later, I noticed something else. Chloe stopped mentioning Noah by name. Used to be Noah showed me his baseball cards, or Noah and I played in the yard. Now just silence when I asked, how are things with Noah? She looked at her hands. Fine. You sure? Grandma's calling me. Il est ergo. I should not have. The envelope arrived on a Wednesday. Brown cardboard, my mother's handwriting on the return label. Inside, 2 bags of Chloe's favorite sour gummy worms, a school photo, and a folded piece of notebook paper. I opened the drawing. Left side of the page. A tall man, a woman with short hair, a bigger boy, all grouped together, holding hands. Bright colors, red and yellow and blue. Right side, one small figure, no smile, darker crayon, standing alone, no one next to her. At the bottom, in careful, uneven letters, my family. I sat on my bunk and looked at it for a long time. My daughter had drawn herself outside her own family. I called home that night. My father answered. Is Chloe there? She is upstairs. What do you need? I got a drawing from her. She put herself on the side of the page alone. A pause, then a grunt. Kids draw whatever. Do not read into everything. I folded the drawing and slipped it into my shirt pocket. It stayed there for 3 months, against my chest, against my heart. I had been a homicide detective for 5 years. I knew how cases were built, not from confrontation, from documentation. I opened a folder on my laptop. The night after the drawing arrived, I named it Chloe. I started with the school portal. Memphis City Schools had a parent access system. Attendance, grades, pickup logs. I checked it every morning before my shift. Noah Walsh, picked up by Frank Reeves. Every day, 310 Carr Lane. Chloe Reeves, enrolled in extended day program. Pick up at 5:30, emergency contact listed as Donna Reeves. My father's name was not on her file at all. I called the school office the following morning. The woman who answered was kind. Chloe is doing well academically. Very bright. She is quiet though, very quiet. Who picks her up in the afternoon? She is usually an extended day until 5:30, sometimes closer to 6. Her grandmother collects her. Noah left at 3:10. Chloe waited more than 2 hours. Every single day. Noah's birthday came in October. I saw the photos on Karen's social media. 14 children. Inflatable castle in the backyard. Cake shaped like a football flelled. My parents at the center of it, grinning. Chloe's birthday came in February. My mother sent me one photograph. Chloe at the kitchen table. A supermarket cake. No candles. No friends. My mother standing behind her, holding a paper plate. I called my mother that night. Why was Chloe's birthday so different from Noah's? We had already spent quite a bit that month, Maya. And Chloe said she did not want to fuss. She is 8 years old, Mom. What 8-year-old says she does not want to fuss? My mother was quiet for a moment. Then she said the word that changed how I understood everything. Noah is settled here. Chloe is temporary. Temporary. She said it the way you state a fact about weather. But it landed like something thrown at my chest. My daughter was a guest in her grandparents' house. Noah was the grandchild who belonged. Chloe was the grandchild who was waiting. That night at 2 a.m., I opened my laptop and started a formal documentation request. I documented everything. The pickup logs, the birthday photographs, the drawing, the exact word my mother had used. Temporary. I sent the file to my unit supervisor. Then I called Sergeant Diana Okafor. She was my closest contact in the department's legal liaison office. She had covered my shifts twice when Chloe was sick. And I trusted her more than anyone except Chloe herself. Okafor, I need to talk through a legal question. Off the record for now. She did not hesitate. Talk. I walked her through everything. The care plan, the observations, the documentation. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said one thing. Build your paper trail before the incident, not after. There has not been an incident. Then you are ahead of it. Stay there. I spent the next 6 weeks building the file. Every call logged, every drawing scanned, every text from my mother saved to a subfolder, every note from the school portal, printed and dated. I did not tell my parents I had filed an early return request. I did not tell Karen. I did not tell anyone, except Okafor and my supervisor. 2 months of paperwork, 2 months of patience, and then 3 weeks before my return was approved. Noah told the lie that changed everything. Noah Walsh had been lying about Chloe for months. I did not have the full picture until later. The first lie was small. He knocked a glass off the kitchen counter during a fight with Chloe over the television remote. When Frank came into the kitchen, Noah pointed at Chloe. She did it. She was trying to get the remote and knocked it. Chloe said she did not. Frank told her to stop making excuses and sent her to her room. The second lie was about homework. Noah had not finished a school project on time. He told my mother that Chloe had taken his folder from his backpack and hidden it. My mother searched Chloe's room while Chloe watched from the doorway. She did not find the folder because Noah had left it at a friend's house. My mother never apologized to Chloe. She just said you need to be more careful about going through other people's things. The third lie was at school. Noah told his teacher that Chloe had pushed him in the lunch line. The teacher separated them for 4 days. When the school counselor investigated, no other students confirmed Noah's account. But Chloe spent those 4 days eating alone. Each time the same pattern. Noah spoke. Adults believed. Chloe denied. Adults dismissed. My mother told Chloe once, "Do not be a tattletale. Nobody likes a child who makes up stories." Chloe stopped telling anyone anything. She drew instead. I learned most of this from the school counselor, Mrs. Burnett, who had been meeting with Chloe individually since October. Chloe trusted her because Mrs. Burnett never told her what to say. She just sat and waited and let Chloe draw. My father had one rule, that he applied without exception. Noah did not lie. Anyone who said otherwise was the problem. My mother had a brooch that had belonged to her own mother, a small gold flower with a blue stone at the center. She kept it in a ceramic dish on the bathroom shelf and wore it to church every Sunday. One Sunday at a family lunch, my mother brought the dish to the table and opened it in front of Noah. "This was your great-grandmother's," she told him. "Someday it will come to you." Noah reached for it, and my mother let him hold it. She watched him turn it in his small hands and smiled the way people smile when they believe a tradition is being passed down correctly. Chloe, sitting across the table, asked quietly, Can I see it too? My mother pulled the dish slightly closer to Noah. Not right now, sweetheart. You have to be careful with old things. Noah smirked. Chloe put her hands in her lap. Karen, sitting beside Noah, leaned toward my mother and said just loud enough for Chloe to hear, "You know how Chloe is with delicate things. Remember what happened with the lamp?" The lamp had been knocked off the side table by Noah during a game of indoor catch. He told my parents Chloe had bumped it reaching for a book. They believed him. My mother spent the rest of that afternoon reminding Chloe to be more careful around the house. After lunch, Chloe went to the spare room. She sat on the folding cot and drew until dinner. Nobody checked on her. Nobody asked what she was drawing. Nobody noticed. She had gone quiet again. Mrs. Burnett called me on a Tuesday afternoon. It was 3 a.m. my time. I was awake already, heat and noise, and the particular restlessness that comes from knowing something is wrong and not being able to reach it. "Lieutenant Reeves, this is Carol Burnett from Chloe's school." I stepped outside into the courtyard. The air was heavy and still. "Is she okay?" "Physically, yes. But I wanted to talk to you about some things I have been observing." She told me Chloe had become increasingly withdrawn since November. She was no longer playing with other children at recess. She sat against the wall of the gymnasium and drew. She flinched when teachers raised their voices near her. She had stopped raising her hand in class. Even when Mrs. Burnett could see she knew the answer. Then Mrs. Burnett told me the thing. That made me grip the railing with both hands. She told me Chloe's grandfather had told her. She was not a real Reeves. I closed my eyes. The courtyard was dark. He said that. In Chloe's words, yes. He told her that real Reeves children do not cause trouble and do not lie. Not a real Reeves. My father had said something almost identical to me. The day I told him I was joining the police department, he stood in the kitchen and said, "Real women in this family support their husbands. They do not go chasing criminals." He had said it to me at 22. He was saying it to my daughter at 8. I asked Mrs. Burnett to email me her session notes. She sent 12 pages by the following morning. I forwarded everything to Okafor. I added 2 lines to my documentation folder. My father had not changed. My daughter was learning who he was. I called Karen the next day. I told myself I was being measured. 2 sisters talking honestly about what was best for the children. It lasted 5 minutes. "Is Chloe okay at Mom and Dad's?" "Her counselor says she has been withdrawing." Karen made a sound like air escaping a tire. "She is Flun Maya. She just needs to understand how things work there. Noah has been there longer. He knows the routine." I let those words sit for a full 3 seconds before I answered. "What does that mean, Karen? What routine does an 8-year-old need to understand?" "It means your daughter needs to contribute. Noah helps Dad with things. Noah sets the table. Chloe sits in that room and draws all evening. She is 8 years old." Karen was quiet for a moment. Then she said the thing I was not prepared to hear. "I actually talked to Mom and Dad about this. I think you should consider letting them have permanent guardianship of Chloe. Maya, you are never here. She needs a stable home. She needs people who are actually present." My throat went very tight. Permanent guardianship. "Karen, I'm just saying what everyone is thinking. You had her alone. You have a job that takes you away. She deserves a real family situation." I hung up, opened my laptop, began drafting notes for a formal custody protection filling. My sister had suggested my parents take permanent guardianship of my child. She had said it the way you suggest a different route on a road trip, like my motherhood was an inconvenience. Everyone had been politely tolerating. I decided that night that when I came home, I was not coming home as their daughter. I was coming home as Chloe's mother, and there was a difference between those 2 things that my family was about to understand. The early return approval came through on a Thursday. My supervisor handed me the paperwork with a look that said, "Handle it and handle it well." I packed my kit in 35 minutes. Documentation folder, laptop, Chloe's drawing in my breast pocket. Everything else was departmental issue and could stay. I flew through 2 layovers and landed at Memphis International at 4 in the afternoon. Rented a car with my badge ID. Drove to a Hampton Inn. 11 minutes from my parents' house. I did not call them. I did not drive past the house. I sat on the hotel bed and called Okafor. "I'm back. Landed 2 hours ago." "Good. Your formal documentation package is ready. I can file the care plan revocation with the court first thing Monday morning." "What happens when you file?" "Your parents lose designated caregiver status immediately. Legal custody reverts to you. If they refuse to produce Chloe, we go to family court same day. What if something happens before Monday?" "Then you call 911. And you call me? In that order. She paused. Maya, do not confront them tonight. I know you. I know what you want to do. But if you walk in there angry, they will paint you as unstable. Your father will say you abandoned your child. And now you are attacking the family that raised her. Your mother will cry. Karen will tell everyone who will listen. Let the paperwork do the work. She was right. I knew she was right. I drove to Chloe's school the next morning. Mrs. Burnett was waiting. She had a folder on her desk. Thick. Chloe's name on the tab in blue ink. She opened it and laid 6 months of drawings out in chronological order. September, Chloe and Noah at a table together. Both smiling, normal, October, a family group. Chloe drawn slightly to the left. Small gap between her figure and the others. November, Chloe's figure smaller, the other figures taller. No one holding her hand. December, a large face with a wide open mouth. Drawn in dark crayon. A tiny figure at the bottom, with blue dots for tears. January, a boy surrounded by presents and balloons. In the bottom corner, a small girl with brown hair sitting alone. A heavy dark line drawn through her figure. February, 2 figures only. One small with brown hair, one taller wearing blue. Holding hands. In Chloe's careful, uneven letters at the bottom. What I want. I turned that last drawing over. 3 times in my hands. Mrs. Burnett said quietly. She drew you in your uniform, I know. She stopped drawing her grandparents after December. She stopped putting them in the picture. I photographed every drawing. I photographed Mrs. Burnett's 12 pages of session notes. I sent everything to Okafor. Then I sat in my rental car in the school parking lot and pressed my forehead against the steering wheel and let myself fall apart for 4 minutes. 7 months of 12-hour shifts and satellite calls, and she is adjusting just fine. Those drawings were going to speak louder than anything I said in a courtroom. I pulled myself back together and drove to my parents' street. Parked 4 houses down. 3:40 in the afternoon. School bus coming. Noah came first. My father walked out to the curb before the bus even stopped. He ruffled Noah's hair and took his backpack and said something that made Noah laugh, and they went inside together. The front door stayed open. 20 minutes later, the second bus came. Chloe stepped off. She stood on the sidewalk for a moment, adjusting her backpack straps. Then she walked up the driveway. She stopped at the front door and knocked. My 8-year-old daughter knocked on the door of the house she had been living in for 11 months. My mother opened it. No hug, no smile. Just wipe your shoes and your bag is on the stairs. Chloe walked inside. The door closed behind her. Through the front window, I could see Noah on the couch. Snack, television. Feet up. Chloe disappeared upstairs in 30 seconds. I sat in the car with both hands on the wheel and made myself breathe. Then I called Mrs. Aldridge, Harriet Aldridge, 68 years old. Lived next door to my parents for 22 years. She used to give me butterscotch candies when I walked past her porch as a child. She had a memory like a court reporter and a moral conscience like a judge. Mrs. Aldridge, it's Maya Reeves. Maya, honey. Oh, I am glad you called. I need to ask you about Chloe. She was quiet for just a second. Then she said, that little girl sits on the back porch every evening. After dinner, Maya, while Noah plays in the yard with your father, she sits out there alone. Has she said anything to you? She does not talk much, but I hear things through the fence. Your father yells at her, Maya, not just loud, yells like she is a problem he is trying to get rid of. It has been getting worse since January. I wrote down every word, date, time, exact phrasing. That evening I drove past the house slowly, parked on the opposite side of the street. The kitchen light was on, the television in the front room. Then I heard my father's voice through the closed front door. Not shouting. That voice he used. That was worse than shouting. Low and deliberate. You were told to clean up after dinner. You were told. Chloe's voice. Very small. I did clean up, Grandpa. I cleaned everything. Don't you talk back to me. Go to your room and stay there until you can behave like you belong in this house. Stairs. Silence. My hand was on the car door. My fingers were around the handle. Every instinct I had. The mother part, the officer part, the daughter who knew exactly who Frank Reeves was. Every part of me wanted to walk up those steps and carry Chloe to the car without saying a single word to him. Okafor's voice was louder than my instincts. Let the paperwork do the work. I took my hand off the handle. I backed out slowly, drove 3 blocks, pulled over, called Okafor from the car. File the revocation first thing Monday morning. I want it on the record by 9. Done. What if something happens before then? You call 911, then you call me. In that order. I sat in the hotel room that night staring at the ceiling, counting the hours until Monday morning. 9 hours, 8, 7. But I did not have 7 hours. Because the storm came that night. I learned the details later. From Noah's interview. From Mrs. Aldridge. From my mother's own account. Given to the CP investigator 3 days afterward. My mother had a brooch that belonged to her mother. Gold flower. Blue stone. She kept it in a ceramic dish on the bathroom shelf. Around 8:30 that evening, she went upstairs and found the dish empty. She searched the bathroom, the bedroom, the hallway. Then she came downstairs and started going through the living room drawers. Frank, my brooch is gone. I cannot find it. My father stood up from his chair. What do you mean gone? It is not in the dish. I have looked everywhere. Noah was on the couch. He watched the panic build for about 60 seconds. Then he stood up and walked to my father. Grandpa, I saw. Chloe put something in her jacket pocket earlier. After school, she was being sneaky about it in the hallway. My father did not ask what specifically. Did not ask when exactly. Did not ask whether Noah was certain. He walked straight to the spare room. Chloe's folding cot, her backpack on the floor. He unzipped the front pocket. The brooch was inside. Noah had put it there. He had taken it from the bathroom shelf that afternoon. While Chloe was doing homework upstairs, he had carried it to the spare room, slipped it into her backpack, zipped the pocket closed, gone back to his video game. He was 9 years old. He had been watching what happened. Every time he pointed at Chloe, for 4 months, he knew exactly what would happen this time. My father's face went the color of something that has been left in heat too long. He called Chloe down from upstairs. She came in her pajamas, star-patterned cotton pants, long-sleeve shirt that said Future Explorer, bare feet on the hardwood, hands at her sides. She had no idea what was coming. By 8:45, the storm outside had been building for 2 hours. Rain sideways, wind shaking the gutters. A March storm in Tennessee, the kind that turns gutters into rivers and takes the power out on whole streets. Inside, my father held up the brooch in one hand and Chloe's backpack in the other. You stole this from your grandmother. I did not, Grandpa. I did not take it. It was in your bag. I do not know how it got there. He threw the backpack onto the floor. 11 months I have put up with this. 11 months of your attitude. You're sneaking. You're lying. I am not lying. My mother stood behind him. She did not speak. She did not step between them. She held the brooch against her chest and said nothing. Karen arrived 20 minutes later. My parents had called her. She walked in, saw Chloe sitting on the bottom stair, crossed her arms. This is exactly what I have been talking about. This child has no discipline. Noah stood in the living room doorway. He did not speak. He pressed his back against the frame and watched. My father leaned over Chloe. You have anything to say? I did not take it, Grandpa. Noah told me he saw you. Grandma is heartbroken, and you are sitting there lying to my face. Noah does not lie. He said it the way people say things. They have decided our permanent truth. Finished, final, not open for discussion. Noah does not lie. My mother touched my father's arm. Frank, maybe we should. He pulled away. No, this has gone on long enough. She needs to learn what it means to disrespect this family. Karen from the doorway. Dad is right. This is not the first time. My father reached down, picked up the backpack, held it out to Chloe. You want to act like you do not belong here? Fine. You are going to learn what that actually means. Chloe looked up at him. Then she looked past him at my mother. My mother's eyes were wet. Her mouth was a flat line. She did not move. Then Chloe looked at Karen. Karen checked her phone. My daughter looked at every adult in that hallway. Not one of them looked back. My father walked to the front door. He opened it. The rain hit the porch instantly. Wind pushed the door wider than he meant it to go. He did not try to close it. He pointed. Get out! I do not need a lying granddaughter in my house. Those words left his mouth at 8:57. On a Thursday evening in March. The rain was coming down so hard. It was bouncing off the porch railing. The temperature had dropped 12 degrees since sundown. The maple tree in the front yard was already missing 2 branches. Chloe stood up from the stairs. She did not argue. She did not cry. She slipped her arms through her backpack straps and walked to the door. She was wearing cotton pajamas and a long-sleeve shirt and no shoes, no jacket, no phone. She stepped through the doorway, and the rain hit her immediately. Within seconds, her hair was flat against her face. My father closed the door behind her. Next door, Mrs. Aldridge was at her kitchen sink. When she heard the door slam, she looked through her window. A small figure in the rain, pajamas, no coat, bare feet on wet concrete, walking away from the house. She picked up her phone. 911. There is a child outside alone in this storm. She just came out of the house next door. She is in her pajamas. I do not think she has shoes on. Inside my parents' house, my mother sat down at the kitchen table and held the brooch. Frank, maybe we should open the door. She will come back when she is ready to apologize. Karen put on her coat. The roads are getting bad. Noah, come on. Noah stood in the living room doorway, looking at the closed front door. He stayed there for about 10 seconds. Then he followed his mother out through the garage. Nobody opened the door. Nobody looked through the window. Nobody went after her. Chloe walked 4 blocks in the storm before she found somewhere to go. A concrete drainage channel behind a neighbor's fence, deep enough to block the worst of the wind. She crawled inside and pressed her back against the far wall and pulled her backpack over her head. She was there for just under 3 hours. The rain came straight down. The lightning was close enough that she could see it through the gap at the top of the channel. She held her knees to her chest and did not make a sound. Her feet were bleeding from running on wet asphalt and then on gravel. Her lips were blue. She was shaking so hard she could not grip the backpack straps. The officer who found her was named Gutierrez, patrol unit responding to Mrs. Aldridge's 911 call. He drove the street 3 times before his flashlight caught something at the base of the drainage channel. A backpack reflector. 49 pounds of child curled around a backpack. In the rain, he wrapped her in the emergency blanket from his trunk and radioed for an ambulance. Paramedics arrived in 11 minutes. They transported her to regional medical. Mild hypothermia, lacerations on both feet, scraping on her knees and both palms, dehydrated, heart rate elevated, not critical, but not okay. At the hospital, a nurse checked the backpack for identification. Inside the front pocket, tucked behind a broken pencil and a folded spelling test, she found a small card. Official Police Department Dependent Identification. Chloe Reeves. Emergency contact. Officer Maya Reeves. Badge number. Direct line. The nurse called the number at 10:14. I was sitting on my hotel bed, 11 minutes away, staring at the ceiling, counting down to Monday morning, when my phone rang with a number I did not recognize. This is regional medical calling for Officer Maya Reeves. We have your daughter Chloe in our emergency department. I was in my car. Before she finished the sentence, I drove 11 minutes in the rain, parked across 2 spaces in the emergency lot, ran through the sliding doors. A nurse pointed me down the hall. Room 7, Chloe in a hospital bed. IV line in her left arm, monitors, her hair still wet and flat, her eyes closed. I sat down and took her hand. I am here. I am not going anywhere. Her eyes opened. She looked at me like she was not sure I was real. Mommy. Yeah, baby. Right here, she had something in her other hand, crumpled against her palm. A drawing. 2 stick figures, one small, one taller in blue, holding hands. 20 minutes later, a woman knocked on the open door. Gray cardigan, glasses, badge on a lanyard. Hospital social worker, Nancy Odom. I am required by law to file a report with Child Protective Services. An 8-year-old was admitted with exposure injuries, and no designated guardian present. I understand. I am her mother, Maya Reeves, Officer Maya Reeves. Memphis PD, currently on assignment through a federal peacekeeping partnership. I handed her my badge. She copied the information carefully. Who was responsible for Chloe this evening? My parents, Frank and Donna Reeves. They are her designated caregivers under a notarized guardianship agreement. Was she sent out of the house? Yes. The neighbor who called 911 is named Harriet Aldridge. She lives directly next door. She witnessed my daughter being put out of the house. She can confirm everything. Nancy wrote without looking up for a full 2 minutes. Then she said, "Is there anything else you need me to know?" I have documentation, 11 months of it. School counselor reports, behavioral observations, pickup log discrepancies, communications records. I can provide everything tonight. Please do. After she left, I called Okafor. It is happening. CPS is filing tonight. I'm filing the revocation first thing tomorrow, regardless of the hour. I did not make a single accusation. I answered every question. The system started moving on its own. 1 hour and 19 minutes after I arrived at the hospital, the door to room 7 opened again. My father walked in. He saw Chloe first. The hospital gown, the IV, the monitors. The color left his face. The way color leaves a room when a light goes out. Then he turned and saw me, sitting in the chair beside her bed, still in my jacket, my name over the left pocket. His hands started to shake, both of them, trembling against his thighs. You cannot be here. You are overseas. You are on assignment. I came back early. When? I have been here since yesterday. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. My mother came in behind him. She saw Chloe and her hand went to her mouth. Then she saw me and started crying. The fast kind. The kind that already had accusations inside it. If you had been here, Maya, this would not have happened. I held her gaze. I trusted you to be here for her mom. My father tried to recover. The girl took your mother's brooch. No, she did not. Noah saw. Noah is 9 years old, and we are not having this conversation in a hospital room. A nurse appeared in the doorway. I need to keep this room calm, please. I stood. Not fast. Not toward them. Just stood. I think you both need to go. CPS will be in contact tomorrow morning. My father's face went through 3 different shades. CPS? You reported your own parents? The hospital reported what the law requires. When an 8-year-old is admitted for hypothermia, with no guardian present. He opened his mouth. I waited. He closed it. They left without speaking. My mother's crying faded down the hallway. The elevator doors closed. The hospital went quiet. Around 1 a.m, Chloe opened her eyes. She looked at me for a moment, making sure I was still there. Am I in trouble? You are never in trouble. For telling the truth. She was quiet. Her grip on my hand loosened a little, but did not let go. Then she said it, in a voice so small, I had to lean forward to catch it. Noah put the brooch in my bag. I saw him do it. He came into the spare room after school, when he thought I was upstairs. I was on the landing. I saw him open my backpack and put it in the front pocket. Why did you not tell Grandpa? Because Grandpa never listens. When it is about Noah, he never believes me. I smoothed her hair back from her forehead. It was still damp at the roots. I know. And I'm going to make sure the right people hear you this time. She closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed. Her grip stayed. I opened my phone and typed an email to Okafor. Subject line. Full evidence package. CPS investigation Reeves. I attached everything. Mrs. Burnett's session notes. The 6 months of drawings. Mrs. Aldridge's statement and contact information. The hospital intake form. The notarized guardianship agreement. Every screenshot. Every pickup log. Every line from my documentation folder. 11 months of building a case. That night, sitting in a hospital chair in room 7, I sent it to the people who could use it. The CPS investigator arrived at my parents' house on Monday morning at 9. Her name was Ms. Chen, 16 years in child welfare, a leather portfolio, and a posture that said she had heard every version of every story, and knew immediately when something did not match. She interviewed my father and mother separately. My father's version. The child was behaving badly. I told her to sit on the porch until she could calm down. She ran off on her own. I did not know there was a storm. My mother's version. Frank was upset. Chloe went outside for some air. I thought she would come straight back in. Chen wrote both statements. Then she noted the problem. He said he told her to sit on the porch. She said Chloe went outside for air. One was an instruction. One was a choice. They could not both be true. Then Chen walked next door to Mrs. Aldridge's. A kitchen? Mrs. Aldridge had her own notes, written in a small, spiral notebook she kept by the window. Dates, times, what? She had heard through the shared fence. He opened the front door, Mrs. Aldridge told Chen. He pushed the child's backpack at her. She had no shoes. He said, "Get out. I do not need a lying granddaughter." Then he closed the door. I called 911 within 45 seconds. Chen wrote the exact words in block letters. Underlined them twice. Get out. I do not need a lying granddaughter. Those 8 words went into the official CPS record as a direct witness statement from a 68-year-old woman, with clear line of sight and no reason to fabricate. My father had been controlling the story inside his house for decades. He did not know that Harriet Aldridge had been writing it down since November. The specialist who interviewed Noah was named Dr. Wallace, patient, trained in forensic interviewing. Karen was present but instructed not to speak. Noah sat across a small table, with a juice box and a foam ball. Noah, can you tell me what happened with the brooch? I saw Chloe put it in her bag. When did you see that? After school. Where were you? In the kitchen? Where was Chloe? In the hallway. Can you see the hallway from the kitchen? Noah paused. I mean, I was in the hallway too. Which one were you in? He squeezed the foam ball. The living room. I saw her from the living room. 3 separate locations. In under 30 seconds. Dr. Wallace did not highlight the contradiction. She just said, Noah, sometimes kids say things because they are worried about what happens if they tell the truth. You are safe here. Whatever you say will not get you in trouble. Noah looked at his mother. Karen's face was completely still. I put it in her bag. Karen's voice cut in immediately. He is confused. He does not understand the question. Dr. Wallace, Ms. Walsh, please let Noah finish. Noah looked at the foam ball. His voice dropped. Mom said Chloe needed to learn her place. She said if Chloe got in trouble, Grandpa would make her leave. And things would go back to how they were before. Karen stood up. Noah did not look at her. The room went quiet. Chen conducted Karen's interview separately. She had Noah's statement, Mrs. Aldridge's account, Mrs. Burnett's 6 months of session notes. Ms. Walsh, did you instruct your son to place the brooch in Chloe's bag? Karen's jaw tightened. That is ridiculous. He is 9. He makes things up. Your son stated that you told him Chloe needed to learn her place, and that if she got in trouble, your father would make her leave. He is a child. You are going to take a child's word over mine? Chen set her pen down and looked at Karen without changing her expression. A child's word put another child in the hospital. So yes, I take children's statements seriously. Karen pushed back her chair. I am calling a lawyer. That is your right. This investigation continues regardless. Chen placed the brooch on the table. Clear evidence bag, recovered from Chloe's backpack at the hospital, and entered into the officer's log. This brooch was placed in an 8-year-old girl's bag by a 9-year-old boy who was instructed to do so by his mother. The direct result was that child being expelled from the house during a severe storm. With no shoes and no supervision, she spent nearly 3 hours outside alone. Karen stared at the brooch. The blue stone caught the fluorescent light. It looked smaller under that light than it ever had on my mother's bathroom shelf. She stood up without another word and left the room. The formal meeting took place at the CPS county offices on Wednesday afternoon. A rectangular table, recording device in the center. On one side, my parents, my father in a pressed shirt, my mother in her church cardigan, their attorney Harold, between them. On the other side, me, Okafor in her dress uniform, my documentation folder in front of me. At the head of the table, Ms. Chen. Karen was not present. She had refused to attend after Noah's interview. Chen opened with findings. Inconsistent parental statements. Noah's admission. Mrs. Aldridge's direct witness account. 6 months of school counselor documentation. Hospital records. My documentation folder cross-referencing 11 months of communications. My father tried to interrupt twice. Harold stopped him both times. The third time, Frank could not stop himself. This is a family matter. You are turning a private discipline situation into something it is not. Chen did not raise her voice. Mr. Reeves, an 8-year-old, was admitted to a hospital with hypothermia. This is a child welfare matter. My mother was crying, quiet and steady. We love Chloe. We made a mistake. We would never want to hurt her. I looked at her across the table. I kept my voice completely level. You told me she was adjusting just fine. Mom, for 11 months you told me she was fine. I trusted you with her. And you used the word temporary to describe your own grandchild. My mother pressed her hand to her mouth. Okafor opened the folder in front of her. Family Care Plan Revocation. Already filed and confirmed. Request for sole custody. Submitted to the family court that morning. Documentation of the $1,100 monthly transfer my parents had received as child care support. All of it in the official record. My father stared at the stack of papers. He looked at me. You are going to destroy this family over this. I looked back at him. You pushed my daughter into a storm, Dad. I am building her a roof. I did not raise my voice. I did not need to. Chen delivered the preliminary findings at the end of the meeting. Substantiated report of child neglect and emotional abuse against Frank and Donna Reeves. Recommendation for no unsupervised contact with Chloe Reeves, pending comprehensive review. All future contact to occur at a monitored facility. Bi-weekly sessions of 2 hours maximum, with a social worker present. Okafor confirmed. Family Care Plan Revocation complete. Legal guardianship reverted to Maya Reeves in full. Custody order to be formalized through family court within 30 days. My father stood. His hands were shaking again. That same tremor I had seen at the hospital, starting in the fingers and working up through the wrists. She is my granddaughter. She is. And that is exactly why this has to happen. My mother reached across the table toward my arm. Her fingers brushed my sleeve. I moved my hand back, gently, not with anger, just clearly. Mom, I love you. But loving someone does not mean allowing them to hurt your child. She pulled her hand back, pressed it to her mouth. Harold gathered his papers. He nodded at Chen. He guided my parents toward the door. My father stopped in the doorway. He turned. He started to say something. Then he looked at the table, at the revocation order, the custody request, the witness statements, the hospital records, the 11 months of documentation that had been building in a folder on my laptop. Since the day Chloe drew herself outside her own family, he closed his mouth. He left without another word. My mother followed him. The door clicked shut. I walked into the hallway. Chloe was in the waiting area. Okafor's paralegal, a young officer named Torres, had been reading her a picture book from the shelf by the door. Something about a dog and a missing bone. Chloe looked up when she heard my footsteps. She slid off the chair and ran to me. Her arms went around my waist. She pressed her face into my jacket. Are we going home? Yes, baby. We're going home. She pulled back. She looked up at me. Our home, our home. I took her hand. Her backpack was on one shoulder. I could see tie edge of the police department dependent ID card, still clipped to the inside pocket. The same card I had put there the night before I left. I had put that card on her because I trusted my parents, because I believed the choice I had made was the right one. When the system failed, and the people failed, and the storm came, that small card with my badge number on it was what brought her back to me. Not my parents, not my sister. A laminated card, and a nurse who dialed the number printed on the back. We walked out into the parking lot. Sunlight. First clear day in a week. I did not look back. 3 months later, Chloe and I were in a 2-bedroom apartment in Midtown Memphis. Her room had yellow curtains she chose herself, and a desk by the window where she drew every evening after dinner. I had been reassigned to a community liaison position. No overnight shifts, no extended assignments. My sergeant approved it without hesitation. Family court formalized the custody order in April. Sole, physical and legal custody. My parents were granted supervised visitation, 2 hours every other Saturday, at a monitored facility. A social worker present for the full duration of every visit. The first visit was in May. My father brought Chloe a coloring book. Flowers and animals. He put it on the table between them, and sat down in the plastic chair, and did not know what to say. Chloe did not know either. They colored for an hour. He asked her about school. She told him about her art project, a drawing of a tree, with every leaf a different color. He did not raise his voice. He did not mention Noah or Karen or the brooch or the storm. When the 2 hours ended, he stood up and said, "I will see you in 2 weeks, Chloe." She said, "Okay, Grandpa." He walked to the parking lot and sat in his truck for 8 minutes before he drove away. The social worker told me. Karen had not contacted me since the CPS meeting. Her husband came home from an offshore rotation and had to be told the full story. Noah was enrolled in counseling per CPS requirement. He sent Chloe a note in June, written in pencil on a torn piece of notebook paper. "I'm sorry I lied. I hope you are not still mad at me." Chloe asked me if she had to write back. I said it was completely her choice. She wrote back 4 days later. "It is okay. I hope things are better." My mother called every Sunday. The calls were short. "How is Chloe?" "She is doing well, Mom. Can I send her anything?" "You can send to our address." "Darcy, The schedule is what it is, Mom. We will see you on Saturday." My father's hand still shook a little when he saw Chloe at the visitation center. I did not know if that was guilt or something else he did not have a name for yet. But he sat in that room every other Saturday. He did not raise his voice. He never used the words lying granddaughter again. Not once. Mrs. Aldridge sent a card that arrived the same week as Noah's note. Small envelope, her handwriting on the front. Inside 2 lines. "That little girl deserved better from all of us. I am glad you came home when you did." I pinned it above Chloe's drawing desk. It is still there. Here is what I know now. I spent 11 months trusting the wrong people with my daughter because I believed that family meant safety. I was wrong. Family means the people who choose to show up for your child when showing up is hard, when it costs something, when there is no audience and no reward, and the child cannot even tell you she needs you. My parents chose Noah every single time, not because they were monsters, because they had decided who mattered more, and never questioned it. And when that choice produced a child in a drainage ditch in a thunderstorm, they still could not see it. They saw a discipline situation. I saw my daughter, And the difference between those two things is the whole story. Protecting your child does not mean giving them everything. It means making sure the people around them deserve to be there. And when they do not, it means having the courage to be the one who says enough. Not with rage, not with revenge, with a documentation folder and 11 months of evidence. And a mother who came home armed with the truth. That is my story. One storm, one lie. One mother who was 12 minutes away when her daughter needed her most. And who made sure the next time the distance would be 0. If this reminded you that your child's safety is never an overreaction, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for being here. Drop a comment, and I will see you in the next one.